what is taught in modern corporate finance courses is twaddle.
You want to elaborate on that, Charlie? Three wonderful businesses is more than you need in this life to do very well. And the average person isn't going to run into that. I mean, if you look at how the fortunes were built in this country, they weren't built out of a portfolio of 50 companies. They were built by someone who identified with a wonderful business. Coca-Cola is a great example. A lot of fortunes have been built on that. And there aren't 50 Coca-Colas. There aren't 20. If there were, it'd be fine. We could all go out and diversify like crazy among that group and get results that would be equal to owning the really wonderful one. But you're not going to find it. And the truth is, you don't need it. I mean, if you have a really wonderful business, is very well protected against the vicissitudes of the economy over time and competition. I mean, we're talking about businesses that are resistant to effective competition, and three of those will be better than 100 average businesses, and they'll be safer, incidentally. I mean, there is less risk in owning three easy to identify wonderful businesses than there is in owning 50 well-known big businesses. And it's amazing what has been taught over the years in finance classes about that. But I can assure you that I would rather pick, if I had to bet the next 30 years on the fortunes of my family that would be dependent upon the income from a given group of businesses, I would rather pick three businesses from those we own than own a diversified group of 50. Charlie?
Yeah, what he's saying is that what is taught in modern corporate finance courses is twaddle. You cannot believe this stuff. I mean, it's modern portfolio theory, and
it has no utility. I mean, it will tell you how to do average, but I think anybody can figure out how to do average in fifth grade. I mean, it's just not that difficult, and it's elaborate, and there's lots of little Greek letters and all kinds of things to make you feel that you're in the big leagues, but there is no value added.
I have great difficulty with it because I am something of a student of dementia, and I have.
We hang around a lot together.
And I can ordinarily classify dementia, on some theory structure of models, but the modern portfolio theory, it involves a type of dementia I just can't even classify. No. Something very strange is going on.
Yeah. If you find three wonderful businesses in your life, you'll get very rich, and if you understand them. Bad things aren't going to happen to those three. I mean, that's the characteristic of it.
By the way, maybe that's the reason there's so much dementia. If you believe what Warren said, you could teach the whole course in about a week.
Yeah. Yeah, and the high priest wouldn't have any edge over the lay people, and that never sells well.
Right.
But I'm thinking about not only Microsoft, but say Pfizer and J&J. All three companies which have already proven that not only do they have a great product, proven management over 10 to 15 years, great market share positions, which are not easy to get into. And I frankly don't see a big difference in the PE ratios, for example, if you say Coca-Cola, or against Johnson & Johnson or Pfizer, which are very powerful companies. I wonder if either or both of you would address that question again.
Charlie, why don't you?
If you have something you think you understand that looks very attractive to you, we think it's smart to do what you understand. If we'd been unable to find companies, slender talents, we well might have been in the to it. We don't sneer at it. Other people with more talent have found that a wonderful course of action.
We generally look at businesses. We feel change is likely to work against us. We do not have great ability. We do not think we have great ability to predict where change is going to lead. We think we have some ability to find businesses where we don't think change is going to be very important. Now, at a Gillette, the product is going to be better 10 years from now than now, or 20 years from now than 10 years from now. You saw those earlier ads going back to the Blue Blade and all that. The Blue Blade seemed great at the time, but the shaving technology gets better and better. But you know that Gillette, although they had that little experience with Wilkinson in the early 60s, but you know that Gillette is basically going to be spending many multiples the money on developing better shaving systems than exist now compared to anyone else. You know, they got the distribution system, they got the believability. If they bring out a product and they say this, they got the distribution system, they got the believability. If they bring out a product and they say this is something that, when they said to women to look at it in the shaving field, they wouldn't have that same credibility someplace else, but in the shaving field they have it. Those are assets that can't be built, and they're very hard to destroy. So change, we think we know in a general way what the soft drink industry or the shaving industry or the candy business is going to look like 10 or 20 years from now. We think Microsoft is a sensational company run by the best of managers, but we don't have any idea what that world is going to look like in 10 or 20 years. Now, if you're going to bet on somebody that is going to see out and do what we can't do ourselves, I'd rather bet on Bill Gates than anybody else. But I don't want to bet on anybody else. I mean, in the end, we want to understand ourselves where we think a business is going. And if somebody tells us the business is going to change a lot, in Wall Street they love to tell you that that's great opportunity. They don't think it's a great opportunity when Wall Street itself is going to change a lot, incidentally. But it's a great opportunity. We don't think it's an opportunity at all. I mean, it scares the hell out of us because we don't know how things are going to change. We are looking, when people are chewing gum, we have a pretty good idea how they chewed it 20 years ago and how they'll chew it 20 years from now. And we don't really see a lot of technology going into the art of the chew, But, so that, as long as we don't have to make those other decisions, why in the world should we? I mean, all kinds of things we don't know. And so why go around trying to bet on things we don't know when we can bet on the simple things?
We are indirectly in all of these emerging markets through Coca-Cola and Gillette. So it isn't true that we're totally absent.
No, well, at Coca-Cola, the international markets are 80% of profits, actually a little more. Gillette, I think they're about 70% or so. So we love the international aspects of the Coca-Cola or Gillette businesses, and that's a very major attraction. But the management of those companies is focused on that. But they have distribution systems, and they have recognition, and they've got a lot of going for them over there. But the beauty of it is that they're maximizing what they do have going for them, which was not the case 20 years ago. They just sort of let it go more by default, and they started fooling around with a lot of diversification. And basically that has not worked that well. So we like focus. We love focus.
Yeah, and doing it indirectly as we've done, one can argue that we thereby do it a lot better.
We won't explore the implications of that.